Welcome to another episode of What is Going On in the UC. And today we're going to talk about irrational people. Okay? So, once upon a time there was a cop driving by a park, and the park was closed, but he saw underneath the park lamp a man down on his hands and knees as if he was looking for something. And he, gets out of his car and he walks across the lawn and he approaches the man. He says, "Excuse me, sir, did you lose something?" And the man says, "Why, yes, I dropped my keys as I was riding my bicycle along this path." And the cop looks around, doesn't see anything shiny on the ground, and he says, "I don't think there's any keys anywhere around here. Are you sure you dropped them over here?" And the man says, "Well, no, I dropped them 30 yards down the path." And so the officer says, 30 yards? Well, why aren't you over there looking for the keys? And the man says, "Well, the light is much better over here." Now, that's what you call irrational thinking. And it reminds me of the church because, some people, they come to church. "Oh, I'm going to go to church because I need help." Or, "Oh, I'm going to go to church because I want to be good." Or, "I want to go to church because I want to find God." And, the stated purpose of the church is to find God, right? Or to find a way to live with God, blah, 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 right? Then you get in the church and people say, "Well, God is to be found in love." And you go, "Yeah, love. That's a kind of a well-lit issue in terms of high emotional energy, right? But then when they tell you that many times everyone has to deal with the fact that God is found in places of suffering, that's kind of like a not so well lit emotional issue. That seems like sort of like emotional darkness, that God is found in the darkness, right? So so some people just made up their mind, hell no. And because we have free will, totally we can do this. And some people go, "Hell no, I'm not going to deal with any discomfort." And then if they hang out with each other, they find each other in the church. And they even sometimes ridicule the people who are towing the line and dealing with the love and the light and the darkness. Like the love part of finding God and the suffering part of finding God. They're dealing with both. And these people who have decided to only deal with the sunny side, right? They sometimes marginalize and try to ridicule people who are actually doing more God searching, who are actually accepting or appreciating God in a broader spectrum. And they ridicule those people until they create a discomfort where people don't want to deal with the full reality of God in the movement. And that's a sad thing because it really can affect parts of our church culture. Somebody says to you, "Lighten up," and it's like when you're dealing with God, you're going through something, and somebody just accuses you almost as if you've got a mental disorder for actually, dealing with your stuff, taking it seriously. No, they say, "Come on, man, lighten up," And, then if you don't lighten up, then they'll accuse you of poisoning their so-called high and joy-filled atmosphere, and I'm like, it just cannot be that God is happy all the time, or that God is not, serious about certain things. And, people say, if you're going to be serious in this church, ain't nobody going to come to this church while you're being serious. And in this way, try to create a new type of normal where, we don't even deal with half of God, the God that goes through the valley, right? We only want to deal with the God that's on top of the mountain, on top of the mountain, successful, shouting, yay, right? So, anyway, just stuff to think about. Talk to you later.